Hey there, it's Michelle Caruana from Play Cafe Academy and Profitable Play. And you may have noticed, but just last week was Valentine's Day. And I had the last minute idea to reach out to my Playmaker Society members and see if any of my Play Cafe owner couples wanted to chat for a couple minutes about their ownership journey. So in today's video, you are going to hear from two amazing Play Cafe owner couples from Playmaker Society, and they are going to talk about the ups and downs of this business ownership journey. They're going to talk about some tips and tricks they've learned along the way. They're going to describe their different roles in the business and how their roles have changed at home as well, because that's something not a lot of people think about. And they are also going to give some amazing advice for anyone that is considering embarking on this journey and opening a brick and mortar play space with their spouse. So again, I am so thankful for these couples for carving out a couple minutes to chat with me, but I just wanted to let you know really quickly that there is some background noise in both of these interviews, but it is not their fault. It is completely my fault. I sprung this interview on them very last minute. So there are kids, there, are Play Cafe noises, but this is absolutely worth the watch. So without further ado, here is my first interview. Hi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to get started by introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about your business?
All right. My name's Ashley, and this is Jacob. We're married, and we own the Natural Nest Play Cafe in Delaware. We have two locations, one in Middletown, Delaware, and the other one's in Dover, Delaware.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your second location. When did that one open, and when did your first location open, just to take a step back?
Yeah, we've opened up our first one in May and the second one in October of last year. So we kind of hit the ground running and just went with it. There were no other play cafes or indoor playgrounds that were really like ours. So we felt the need to kind of hit two markets at that
Correct.
one time and just go with it.
Well, that's great. And it's been great to kind of get a behind the scenes pass in Playmaker Society. So that has been awesome. So can you describe a little bit about what each of you do in the business and what your roles are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm more of the back office in the shadows, right? The man behind the curtain. Um, do really focusing on the finance contracts moving forward, vendor setups, things of that nature. Ashley is really
The
our
visionary.
yeah. She's a visionary, and she's front of house.
Yeah,
Like
I deal with the employees, the customers, answering the questions, setting up the birthday parties, all the fun stuff. And then I just like to joke, he keeps me grounded. He makes sure I don't like float away and like, oh, this would be great in a perfect world.
yeah.
So
I'm the boring one. She's the fun one. So
I feel like that's such a common dynamic, though. I feel like my husband and I were the exact same way. He had to constantly like pull me back down to earth and keep me from, dreaming too high or reaching too high. So I love to hear that you guys kind of share that same dynamic. Have your roles changed at all since opening your second location, or have your roles stayed pretty consistent?
they've just
no.
gotten crazier.
Yeah, they
I
just got
feel like.
busier. Yeah.
Yeah, it stayed the
So
same. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe just more tasks under each role.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely more tasks. Yes.
So, one of my favorite questions that I love to ask is, has anything surprised you about working with each other in a business, especially in a brick and mortar business? Because, as you know, it's a lot more challenging than an online only business at times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think either one of us had a full understanding
No.
of what went into a brick and mortar business. We each had our own separate businesses, but it was virtual. There was no employees. Everybody was, contract employees and all of that. So, I mean, everything is a surprise. It's a whole new world for us.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I would say like her being able to adjust and then adjust to me because I'm used to being very my way, my way, my way, and then having her be like, no, I'm like, oh, okay. It's nice. I enjoy being able to work with her, so it's nice.
Well, kind of keeping in that same lane, can you both kind of share what your favorite part about working with your spouses?
Yeah, I like having someone who truly gets it. Sometimes when you work in separate environments, you come home and you share things about your day and they get it, but they're not immersed in it. So they have that kind of like surface level understanding. But working with him, he gets it. Like he knows the employees. He's there with the customers. I mean, he dresses up like Bluey, so he's in it. Like, so he fully understands if I have a rough day or there's something that's not right. Like he gets it. But then he also can share in the good part of things with me. Like when we, have a great birthday party or something like that, he can fully celebrate because it's not just my win, it's our win.
Yeah, I would say for Ashley, it's her resiliency, just the constant bounce back of, I mean, and like as you have like day in and day out the struggles, you know, the clients and like the little nitpicky things that come, like just bring you down, and she just keeps driving on and driving forward and just doesn't let it phase her as much as it could, right? So it's just I'm very proud to be able to work with her. So one of my best, business partners.
Aw,
So,
I'm your only business partner.
I'm going to cut that part out. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that's amazing. So has it been a lot different kind of working together then in the brick and mortar world versus kind of in your separate silos in your online business world?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said before, like he gets this one. Like sometimes, I mean, I do a lot of marketing and things like that. Like he'll just look at me and be like, "Yes, I hear you. I relate." But he just doesn't, that's not his thing, so he doesn't get it. And same with him. He'll talk to me about contracts and like government things and I'm just like, "Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying." And you don't. And that's okay. It's just it's life, but yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd say the same. Just
Yeah.
it's the try to bring the duality and bring it in and merge it together. It just doesn't. The two separate worlds that we have forced to mesh together, and but it's working. It's working,
Yeah.
and we're enjoying it, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. So I know you guys have, some little ones running around like most indoor playground owners do. How are you guys kind of managing that balance between being spouses, being business owners, and being parents together?
A lot of communication and just
Correct.
understanding each other's time. Like today, I was actually working in the play cafe. He was at home with the kids slash working from home. He
Hmm.
had to take them to horseback riding and then do everything with the kids today. And then I come home and it's like, okay, give me a moment to breathe, and then I'll take over. So just
Hmm.
making sure that we're not impeding on each other's time, but also making sure that the kids have their schedules and everything's outlined and we're understanding
Correct.
before the week starts, here's what has to happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I'm same. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't say it better. So go ahead.
Do you guys ever find yourself, kind of talking about business after hours or on date nights or anything like that? Or do you
Oh my
outlaw it?
gosh.
Oh, the
Yes.
whole time. The
Yeah.
whole time. Oh, look at that idea. Oh, look at that. That would be
It's
cute.
insane. We're constantly, if we're together, we're talking about it.
Hmm.
And to me, it's not a bad thing. It's more of the joy of it. We're excited to share things with each
Hmm.
other. I mean, he'll share things with me. I can be in a meeting somewhere else. He'll text me like, look at this, look what I found. This is
Right.
cool. So it's just all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, we go on dates. We just went out for, what was it? Just regular date night. There
Yeah.
was no event.
Regular date night.
And we were just talking about other play cafes and, oh, did you see this? I saw this happen. Oh, look at this. Look
Hmm.
at like something from like Tiger Play that we really liked or something
Hmm.
like that. So all the time.
That's really
Yep.
cool.
Just
And I love that you guys can dream together. And it's nice to have a business where you work together. And because I know before my husband and I started working together, it was kind of like what you described. My worst fear used to be, someone coming up to me and asking me what he did because I don't even think I could describe it
Oh my
properly.
God.
So
Yes.
it was really nice to be able to sit down and dream together and kind of have that one common goal. So it's
mm,
really cool to hear that.
Yeah.
So I talked about some things that, surprised you and some things that were different about owning the brick and mortar business together versus your online businesses. Has one thing in particular been the most challenging that you've faced so far?
Like with each other?
Just
right.
working together.
Oh my goodness. I mean, so we each kind of have veto power over each other's decisions. Like if I'm going crazy with something, he'll just say no. And then I have to go home with him after he tells me no.
Yeah.
That's a problem. No. I mean, but that's probably the hardest thing of there are moments where we just don't agree. And
Correct.
then you're mad about it. How do you let that anger be anger, but not let it translate into the relationship? Sometimes that becomes a battle because we'll roll over and I'll be like,
No,
you
it's
told me no today.
yeah, right. Right. It's just
I
it's
mean, I get it.
passion. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
passion about the business, right?
Hmm.
So
And with a normal job, you can come home and vent about your boss or your coworker to your spouse, but you can't really do
Right.
that in that scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
So, do you have any kind of last minute tips for anyone that is looking to embark on this journey, and especially for people who are going to be working with their spouses?
Yeah, I would say communicate, communicate, communicate. There is not enough communication that can happen. Like there is no cap on any of it. Just keep talking. And even if you're getting in your feelings about it, still continue to keep talking. That's the only way to get through it because sometimes, and I say this, sometimes it just sucks, right? But you have to be in it together equally. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's also important to kind of have those defined roles because there are some
Mhm,
times where we don't agree on things
mhm.
and who's the tiebreaker. So the way that we have things, like when it comes to financial things, he can break the tie. When it comes to the operation side of things, I break that tie. Like if I want a class or if I want to get um, something going in the play cafe and he's like, I don't know. Well, I have that power to be like, well, it's happening. And then when it comes to money, if I want to be like, okay, I want this big, awesome, a piece of equipment, he can say no because he handles the financial side of things.
That's really helpful. And did you determine those roles before you had opened, or did you just kind of figure it out as you went?
It was more, I wouldn't say there wasn't clear distinction in the beginning. It was kind of just the way we operate, and then
We
and
battled to the
then
death first.
we battled in the beginning, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then it was, I would say, what like the first quarter was like, that's it. This is
Hmm.
this and this, and then this is the way
Yeah.
it's gonna be. Before the doors opened, we had our roles defined because
Hmm.
it just wasn't gonna work if we
Yeah.
didn't have, okay, you handle this, I handle this, because it was too much. It's because otherwise you're all grabbing at the same thing, trying to, how do I want to say it?
Just
You're wanting the same goal, but you're
yeah,
coming at it
we
with
still have
different
different
directions.
different visions sometimes of it.
Hmm.
And so merging those together, we just had to have those separate roles. And we had a time where we were just there was no end to the argument. There's two of us. How do you break a two-way tie?
Right.
So we had to have that where it's like, okay, we don't agree to this. We're going to table this, but let's figure out how we can define these roles so this doesn't happen again.
Hmm.
I love that. And it's nice to hear that, you had the same growing pains that I certainly experienced when we were first getting started. I can't say that we figured it out before opening day, so I'm glad to hear that you had a better experience. But one thing I wanted to ask before we wrapped it up is you keep coming back to communication. Are there any tools or apps or systems that you use to kind of make that easier, or are you just kind of texting and calling and keeping each other in the loop?
I'm a
Calendar.
texter. Oh, the
She's a cat.
calendar. Oh my
So
gosh,
she.
yes.
I'm an emailer. She's a texter. But I like my Windows software. She likes her Apple software. So it does not
No,
work.
we
So
have not found that technology
calendar,
yet.
calendar, calendar.
Yeah.
Schedule out your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure everything your role, like the roles and responsibilities of who's going to take over what,
Mm-hmm.
is in the calendar. That way, if there is a cover down moment, everybody knows.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
know
that's
who's
been
doing
our
what
life. That
and
is
where
the
are
only
we.
way we've worked.
Yeah, because I mean, the kids have their activities. We
Hmm.
have meetings. We all have different things. So we need to know when we're booking things, just what's happening. Are we actually free at this time? So that calendar is the best way. I mean, we've tried other tools like Asana and different like management tools. But for me, he loves them. But for me, it's another task that I then have to put something into something. So
Hmm.
that just doesn't work for my management style. I think they're awesome in other avenues. But our calendar is just that
Yeah,
main tool for us.
correct.
Our
Um,
shared calendar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same,
Yeah.
completely same. So, have your roles at home had to change or adapt at all now that you own the brick and mortar business together?
For me, yes.
Yes, it has
Yeah.
been amazing.
Yeah, I'm more Mr.
Mr.
Mom.
Dad? Oh.
Yeah. Very much so. Way, way more than
Yeah.
I've ever been, which is not a bad thing. I thoroughly enjoy it. I really enjoy being able to do that because I was always gone, right?
Yeah.
I was always gone working, working. So it's been a breath of fresh air to be able to feel the what she had to handle prior. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I
For a
love it.
while, I was a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home working mom because I still had like a business that I was running from home,
Mhm.
and he would travel for work. So in opening this, he no longer travels for work. and now he's at home. Now
Yeah.
it's very funny because now I used to be the preferred parent. The kids have run to me for everything. Now with us being both at home and both working, the kids run to him, and I'm just like, wait, what? What is happening? Why are we doing this? And then sometimes I'm like, yes, I don't have to do it. So it's been great for me because I think things are more, I don't want to say they're more equal at home, but I guess that's the best way to
Yeah,
describe
I
it.
think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And it sounds like, the tasks didn't just change overnight. It sounds like you had some really healthy communication leading up to that as well.
Yeah,
We had growing pains.
there's some
We won't
growing pains.
sugarcoat it and
No.
say that, oh, everything was great and
Mm-mm.
wonderful. There were times where I was batting away on the computer, finishing up the business plans and things like that. And
And
he would
I'm
come home.
poking her. Look at
Yeah,
me.
what are you
Look at
doing?
me.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm working. So we've had times where it's
Mhm.
been like, hey, like, leave me alone, or, just
Mhm.
unhealthy communication, I'll just say.
Yeah.
But we had to figure it out
Correct.
and had to adjust. And I think the kids helped us adjust a lot, to be honest, because they start calling him out and say, hey, Dad, come do this. And it's like, you can't say no when they're picking the parent they want to do something.
Right.
So that helped a lot.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys being open and vulnerable and sharing, the good and the bad of working with each other. Is there anything you wanted to leave people listening who are, again, considering maybe going on this journey?
I mean, it's been such an amazing journey that we've been doing. I mean, we've had some rough times, we've had ups and downs, but just in doing this, just the feedback we get from the community, the feedback we get from the family, and even each other, like hearing
Mhm.
him talk about me in this way, I'm just like, oh. But it's been such a powerful journey. I think it's definitely something that you have to push forward. Yes, you're going to need a lot of help, and you've been amazing in just helping us figure things out and the groups that we're in and all of that. So just having someone to lean on, whether it's your husband, a group, or someone, has been just such a need.
Correct.
It's something you have to have.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not a solo act.
Mm-mm.
This is you have to have a community to keep you balanced.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and sharing your expertise on our Valentine's episode.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
All right, that wraps up my first interview with the owners of the Natural Nest Play Cafe in Delaware. And next, we are going to talk to the owners of the Busy Bee Play Cafe in Indiana. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
All right, let's get started by introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, I'm Christina.
And I'm Kevin.
And then we own the Busy Bee Play Cafe here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We just opened 3 weeks ago. It's been a whirlwind.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the opening of your business. It's been great to kind of watch it evolve over time. Can you tell us a little bit about what you each do to support the business?
Yeah, I typically run most day-to-day operations. I'm here. This is my full-time job. So I'm here some days from open to close. That's hopefully changing soon. I've got a good staff, and 80% are trained up to where I need them to be. So we're getting to where I can do a lot of things from home, but not quite everything yet.
And as you can see, I'm still in my scrubs. I'm a physician. That's my day job. But this has kind of been a joint effort, and my role kind of started off as just providing support and trying to figure out how to make things get off the ground. And I have a little bit of small business experience as well, so we kind of used that to figure out what we needed to do. And then that way, since I'm still working, that kind of helps support the family while we get this off the ground. And then during the development, research, and build out, I kind of dabbled a little bit in a bunch of the other kind of little details that we had to do. So I got to wear a lot of hats, like doing some handiwork around the cafe.
You made a train table?
I did. I learned how to
really
make
good train table?
Yeah, I learned how to build a train table.
You own a lot of tools now.
Yep. I also helped with the graphic design and with, let's see.
Profit first, you set all that up.
I did a lot of the accounting stuff, do some IT work, so a little bit of everything.
That's great. I love that you're, expanding your skill set. When you went into this business, when you decided to launch and start an indoor playground, did you kind of define your roles before you started, or did you just kind of figure out what you were each good at along the way?
I think we knew pretty well going into it that I was not going to be strong on any of the computer stuff. I've learned a lot. Like, I'm pretty good at the softwares now. I can manipulate them pretty well. So I think I've learned a lot along the way. So I filled that role I did not expect to find, and actually kind of enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's been too many surprises other than all the handyman projects that you've taken on. We
Yeah.
didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
But
we thought we
there's-
were going to hire out most of that, but
Yeah, but that's expensive, and they don't quite get our vision sometimes.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. Have you guys learned anything about each other since opening?
I don't know, like we've been married, what, 14 years now, almost?
Yeah,
Coming up on
almost,
14
yeah.
years, so I don't think there's been any surprises. I mean, maybe me figuring out that software,
Oh,
that
yeah.
might have surprised you.
I don't know.
So I almost called it quits many times, and then I just kept pushing and we got it to where it needed to go.
Yeah, I think that we already had a pretty good sense of who each other were, and when we joined in on this, we weren't really thinking too much about specifically assigning any sort of jobs. So I think that everything's just kind of come together really well.
Yeah, like when there's slack, one of us grabs it, and hopefully nothing falls through the cracks.
That's cool. Have your roles had to change or adapt at all at home since you've become brick and mortar business owners?
Definitely. I was stay-at-home mom before this, 24/7. That we've had a lot of help. His parents came in town, stayed what, 3 months, I think.
Mhm.
So that helped a ton. There's no way we could have done it otherwise. Like right now, I can't work when the kids come, so we have childcare set up, and then we had extra help too. That it's been a little hard. We're a little behind on laundry. We eat out more often than we'd like, but hopefully that is just for a season. We'll see.
Has one particular thing been most challenging when it comes to working with your spouse? Pretty much, around the clock.
I think the only thing, at least from my perspective, is just having the kids. Like, we have 4 kids, and even with childcare lined up, they still need us. So one of us pretty much has to be available to the kids in the evenings, on the weekends. So I think that's been kind of challenging, because it used to be me, I could take care of it all, and now I really can't.
Mhm. And it's not like I've really been able to step away too much with my job as well. I had taken a little bit of time off around the holidays, which kind of worked out with the timing of our opening. But as soon as my time off was gone, I had to get back to working full time as well. So I think that childcare is probably the biggest challenge for us.
And we knew that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I always joke that it's gonna be harder to find childcare than to open a play cafe, and that's been accurate.
I felt the same way. We ended up moving to our hometown after we sold our business because it was such a constant struggle to find childcare all the time. We had no family and friends in the area, and I completely agree that was. I wish somebody had told me before we opened that you can't just bring your kids into work. It's not as simple as
You
that.
told us that, so we got to learn, because, I mean, before I started researching, I'm like, yeah, I can bring my kids to work every day, it'll be great, and now I'm like, yeah, no, I can understand why Michelle says you can't bring your kids and get things done. It's one or the other. Like tonight, we don't have childcare, and I'm here filling in for someone who's sick, so the kids are gonna be here, and I'm gonna try and get work done, but I don't foresee it happening super well.
Yeah, that's something that you just kind of have to, everybody kind of rolls their eyes when I say that, and they say, "Oh, my kids are different. I'm different," and I just let them say that. It's kind
I'm
of
sure
like,
I thought that at first too.
Yeah.
and that's why sometimes I just post the video and you can watch it. You can take the advice, you cannot take the advice. And then later people circle back and they're like,
We
But
figured
I
out
wish,
very quickly on, like,
Yeah.
even just the build out process, I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna work with kids. So we luckily, we got it squared away early on.
Yeah, and I think that it was really nice just being able to have spent as much time in the research and development side of things that I don't think that there was a whole lot of you know, unanticipated stress. So all of the things that we've had to go through and the challenges that we've been dealing with aren't necessarily surprises to us.
We knew they were coming, like everything that you warned us about, or that other play cafes warned us about. Nothing was surprising, it's just we knew it was gonna be hard, we knew what we were getting into, and indeed, it was hard.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yep.
Do you
But
find yourselves
no
kind of
regrets.
talking? What was that?
No regrets, but it is hard.
Yeah.
I get that too. Do you find yourselves kind of talking about business on date nights or maybe, after hours?
What are date nights?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we definitely, we try not to. Like, we took a whole day yesterday, my first day off since we opened, and we kept it pretty light for the most part. We're trying to build that wall between personal and business, at least for dedicated times throughout the week. But it used to be when we get together, we just talk about the kids. But now I'm like, we had this new baby at the play cafe, and we have to talk about that a lot too. So yeah, we struggle with that balance.
Yeah, and sometimes when we go out to, because usually once a week we try and get lunch together anyways.
Yeah.
And
It's a working lunch.
it's now turned into more of a working lunch. So I think we've joked about how the business should pay for our lunch now.
Probably.
I mean, if it's a business meeting, technically my accountant would say it could be a tax write-off. So again, I'm not giving accounting advice. However, I have done that before with the blessing from my accountant. But I know you have to get back to your cafe. So one last question before we kind of wrap up. Do you have any advice or last minute words for anyone that is getting ready to go on this journey or even considering it, particularly working with their spouse?
I'd say find childcare now, because it took us several months to get something like into place for that. That would help a lot.
Mhm.
But working with, I think having defined roles, like we had pretty defined roles beforehand. Like I knew I was going to run day-to-day stuff. There wasn't a whole lot that was kind of up in the air. I think if things were more up in the air, that would be harder. But
Yeah, and I think that there's also, I think it's really important for, especially for couples that are looking at doing something like this together, that you have, you know what you're getting yourself into, and that both people are on the same page. Because we're constantly still trying to touch base with each other and make sure that both of us kind of know what the other's doing in terms of what's going on, both with the family and then with
when we'll be home.
Yeah,
Like
what else is
tonight.
going on?
We
Yeah,
don't know.
coordinating the child care, making sure that we know that nothing's falling through the cracks, and that requires a lot of extra communication. Oh,
Sorry, business call.
yeah. So, but yeah, so I think a lot of that is important because I think I think that something like as monumentous as starting up a business can be extremely stressful, and if there are already cracks in a relationship and there's already a lot of other unspoken conflict or people aren't on the same page, I think this just magnifies it.
Absolutely. I always heard, when I was in college, if you want to get to know someone, live with them. But I now say, if you really want to get to know someone, open a business with them, but don't really.
So it's eye-opening, definitely, but
Yeah, and I think it's also helpful to, maybe in some way we're very blessed to be able to have at least an alternative source of income that helps support the family while all of this is going on. And so certainly it still cost a lot. It was still quite a bit of a financial risk in terms of just laying everything out, but then we could also make the decision to get things going without having to worry about feeding the kids and keeping a roof over our heads.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your ups and downs. I really appreciate it.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
All right, that wraps up this special Valentine's Day video. I hope you enjoyed hearing from these two amazing couples and hearing them share what it is like to own a business with their spouse. So if you have any additional questions for them, don't be afraid to leave the questions in the comments. I would love to do a part 2 or interview more Play Cafe owner couples if you guys enjoyed this and want to hear more. All right, have a great day. I will see you soon.